SlumG sat shirtless on the bed, the soft yellow lamplight tracing sweat along his collarbone as he gazed down at his arm, his mind heavy with the chat's flood of half-mocking, half-concerned advice. Moisturizer, oil, drink more water, don't Google yourself into panic. The brown door behind him felt too solid, too present, as if it sealed him inside with the faint, musty scent of strangers and the unspoken expectation of dreams he didn't want. Outside, a faint clink of keys, brainquestionmark's nightly patrol, reminded him that the hall was never quite empty, though no one ever lingered long at his door. Amid the quiet hum, Vash Ketchum's avatar and cheerful banter threaded through his thoughts like a persistent ghost, the reassurance of "put some lotion, bro," mingling with ghost stories and the echo of emotes that never really faded after the screen went dark. In this late hour, SlumG's isolation was complete. Visible to the world, yet untouched, haunted equally by unseen stuff, digital voices, and his own restless skin, each blurring the line between comfort and quiet dread. SlumG lingered at the edge of the lobby, the pale blue glow of his navigation phone still seared into his vision. A faint and fragile tether to the world outside, now muted by the hush of marbled walls and the watchful eyes of the night staff. As he crossed the threshold, PvP Darius. PvP's silent polishing paused, a red pocket flickering in the lamplight, while El Micro YU glanced up from his battered logbook, their quiet routines underscoring SlumG's arrival like a private ritual for the restless. The voices from chat, Glee TV's steady, take your time, the relentless bot chimes, receded, replaced by the weight of solitary stillness and the faint scuff of Cidade 28 PS's footsteps beyond the door. For a moment, the phone in his hand became a luminous marker between the living and the unseen, its light dimming as the separation closed in. And SlumG felt the road's strange momentum dissolve into a waiting silence. The distance between himself and any comfort stretched thin and spectral on the other side of the marbled door. The room sealed softly behind SlumG, a tomb of ordinary things made uncanny. The brown marbled door, the plain light walls, the black chair angled away like a silent conspirator. He hovered shirtless by the bed, sweat cooling on his skin, fingers absently worrying at a pale patch on his arm as chat echoes churned Princess Peach 2's praise, Overkill Master, 8 dates teasing about showers and bucket baths, the relentless stutter of Botrix's donation plea. It all pressed in, a digital fog layered atop the faint detergent tang and the hush that filled every crevice, broken only by the far-off clink of Cidade 22 CPs, straightening the very chair now half glimpsed in his periphery. SlumG's mind snagged on the chat's oddest voice. Tutko's bowl sniffed the chair, and for a breathless instant he could almost believe that something watched from within these objects, that each detail held a private, mocking knowledge of what he'd left behind on the ruined road and what he feared to bring into sleep. The enclosure was total, intimate, inescapable. As he sat on the bed, exposed and uncertain, the room felt less like shelter and more like a vessel for everything he couldn't outrun. Digital ghosts, physical flaws, and the endless question of whether it was safer to let himself be seen or to vanish altogether. SlumG sat cross-legged on the cold tile, his bare arm and leg drawn into the frame by the unforgiving brightness of the room, the pale wall looming behind as if to seal him off from the world. He picked absently at a patch of white, scaly skin, squinting at the tangled earphones and dark shirt strewn beside him, the mess both his own and suddenly, in this hour, a stranger's. In his mind, the chat's voices crowded. Vash Ketchum's relentless reminders to drink water, Princess Peach 2's speculation about bedbugs, Bozog 0485's insistence that it was all dryness and exhaustion, each voice looping and overlapping until they became one feverish digital incantation. The emotes and kicks, the bot's endless gratitude, all pressed at him with the same intensity as the tight, restless itch beneath his skin. And for a moment he wondered if it was the stream or the room itself that wanted him to unravel. In this harsh, unkind light, SlumG felt not just watched, but dissected, as if every flaw and private fear was being catalogued by unseen spectres, his own, and those conjured by the crowd that would not let him go. He lingered at the threshold of the bathroom, the clean brightness and intricate grey-white tiles almost mocking the shadows that clung to his thoughts. His reflection in the shard of mirror was fractured by a coil of wire, his own face half swallowed by glare. Sidari 22 CPs, in tan and grey with the red zipper pocket, an echo of SlumG's own restless attire, appeared beside the door, pausing to inspect the marble shelf, their movements slow, deliberate, as if searching for traces of some former trespass. The chat's babble invaded, forbeit was laughter at imagined mishaps, Overkill Master 288's relentless advice on comfort, and Peter Parley's emotes flickered like ghostly sigils in the periphery of his mind, their meaning lost to repetition. Just beyond, a plastic bucket sat sentinel on the pristine floor, waterless, yet heavy with the accumulated anxiety of hundreds of travelers, each hoping to wash away something invisible. Alone, beneath the fluorescence, SlumG pressed at another patch of dry skin, the silence broken only by the echo of Kickbot's automated gratitude, its voice, more insistent than the staff's, suddenly sounding less like a cheer and more like an omen, as he wondered if the true haunting was not in the walls, but in the relentless digital chorus that would not let him rest. SlumG sat shirtless on the edge of the narrow bed, the thin chain of his necklace cold against sweat-slick skin, his eyes tracing the yellow wall's uneven texture as if secrets pressed beneath the paint might spill free. His arm, mottled with white patches, felt alien, a map of nameless anxieties, while the chat's flood of advice and emotes echoed in his mind, a cacophony of concern that refused to fade. Lotion, water, maybe it's just the heat, callous lol, and Botrix's mechanical donate with media share, insistence hammering like a spectral refrain. For a moment he considered reaching for the bottle of lotion glimpsed on the porter's desk, but the thought of venturing into the hallway where Sidad 22 CPS's footstep drifted like uncertain omens felt impossibly fraught, as if crossing some invisible boundary would tip the room's balance from uneasy to truly haunted. The soft, honeyed light blurred the line between shadow and substance, and suddenly, with Vash Ketchum's last message, "Skin health is easy to forget about. Make sure you take care of it," ringing hollow, SlumG's heart hammered with the suspicion that the chat was not comforting him, but watching, waiting for the unraveling. He curled forward, breath shallow, and as a single key rattled in the corridor outside, he surrendered, not to sleep, but to the sense that whether the terror was in his skin or in the walls, it was no longer wholly his own. A single image flickered behind SlumG's eyelids as exhaustion dragged him toward oblivion. The nighttime road unraveling endlessly ahead, his scooter's handlebars trembling beneath his grip, the phone's navigation app glowing with a false promise of direction while distant headlights carved through the blackness and chat messages. "Take your time and reach hotel first. Navsari?" Map overlay is now visible. Rattled in the hollow of his mind. His breath stilled, heart thudding in the hush, as if the empty highway outside had wound itself into the marrow of the room, bringing with it the same illusion of safety, the same lurking threat in each oncoming glare. Somewhere, PvP Darius, PvP's cautious footsteps, faltered outside his door, pausing as though to listen for the unease radiating from within, but SlumG could only submit, body heavy and mind porous, to the slow seep of haunted unrest. In that final moment before sleep, the emote chorus, ghostly, relentless, rose once more, swelling to a crescendo that blurred the line between being watched and being truly alone. When silence settled, it was dense and uncanny, leaving SlumG suspended, neither absolved nor reclaimed, but left drifting in the yellow-lit quiet, a witness to his own isolation.